Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Texas Insider. I'm Jim Cardle. We're excited today to have with us again Congressman Lamar Smith, the chairman of the Judiciary Committee and congressman from Texas's 21st Congressional District. Congressman, thanks for joining us today.
Jim, good to be with you as always.
You took office back in 1987.
That's correct.
In a special election replacing Tom Loeffler. You have served as the chairman of the House Ethics Committee, now chairman of the, I believe, second oldest committee in the House, the Judiciary Committee, handling all issues related to immigration and border security, voter ID, as well as Obamacare and some others. But let's focus, if we can, real quick on immigration. Sure. President Obama, in particular, just last week, folks know, was here in Texas. He made his first ever visit to the southern border, going to El Paso and then here to Austin, your congressional district, and makes the statement that our border is more secure than ever. Many Texans disagree. Give us your perspective.
Well, I have to disagree with that statement as well. Both the President and the Secretary of Homeland Security, Secretary Napolitano, have both used that phrase, that the border is more secure than ever before. The only problem with that, it is contradicted by the Government Accounting Office, which is an objective, nonpartisan government entity that studied the border and said that only 44% of the border was under operational control by the Border Patrol. When you have less than half the border under operational control and only 15% under actual control, that is not a secure border. And then we have our Border Patrol agents telling us that for every one person they apprehend, 2 to 3 to 4 get by who are not apprehended. That means that 1 to 2 million people are entering our country illegally every year. Now, we understand why they want to come to America. We are a great country. We're a prosperous country. They come for jobs. Some of them come to take advantage of government benefits wrongly. But nevertheless, we understand that. But still, America is the most generous country in the world. We admit 1 million people legally every year, more than every other country combined. So I think that gives us the credibility and the right to say, wait till you're invited before you come into the country. Don't cut in front of the line. Don't disregard the laws and come in and take advantage of either displacing American workers or costing taxpayers because of education or health care or crime. So I'm very comfortable saying we need secure borders, but the administration, unfortunately, has not been enforcing immigration laws. And when they say we have a secure border, the facts contradict their words.
And how about, because the last immigration quote-unquote reform that was done, and you're alluding a little bit there to how it's handled with current residents, not citizens, but residents. Last reform was under President Ronald Reagan decades ago. And now you're working with a divided Congress, a Democrat-controlled Senate. You're in a Republican-controlled House. Right. Are there, first of all, real prospects, or is it going to be problematic, just so we can set expectations? Because in Texas, folks are screaming for it, but yet I bet you're hearing less emphasis around the country.
That is true, Jim. Because of the divided government, Republicans control the House and Democrats control the Senate and the White House, as you just said, any immigration legislation that is going to be enacted is going to have to be bipartisan, have the support of Republicans and Democrats alike. One piece of legislation that I think falls into that category is the E-Verify system, which is a system that allows employers to check by computer or by telephone call the Social Security number of their employees.
And this is something that's in place already?
This is in place right now. It's voluntary right now. 240,000 businesses use it. 1,300 more businesses, employers sign up for it every week. But it's a way to make sure that people who are being hired are legal workers. And right now we have a situation where we have 7 million people in the country working illegally. We have 25 million Americans unemployed or underemployed. Why don't we enforce the laws and free up those jobs for unemployed Americans?
And that's something you've been harping on for months and years.
A top priority of mine in Congress. And unfortunately, this administration, worksite enforcement, is down 70% in the last 2 years. I would think they'd want to put the American unemployed workers first and free up jobs for them, but worksite enforcement down 70%.
So how about in Texas, the concern, and I know you or your fellow congressmen have testified before House, State House, and Senate committees this session. What's the feeling from the congressional perspective about states handling the problem themselves, or what do you say in response to people like our governor and state legislators, frankly, who are tired of waiting on the federal government?
Right. The states are totally frustrated, whether it be Texas or whether it be Arizona or any other number of states. They're frustrated at this administration not enforcing immigration laws, and their states are saying, if you're not going to enforce the laws, we're going to enforce the laws. They are entitled to do that. Yes, they cannot pass legislation that contradicts what we've done on the federal level, but there are a lot of ways that states can cooperate, can enforce immigration laws, and I hope they will, and they should.
Everybody knows about Arizona. We here in this legislative session have had a voter ID bill.
Yes.
Do efforts like that help you in Congress, or
they do
deter movement?
The national ID, where individuals had to show ID, for instance, to vote, is a federal bill that we passed in Congress, and some states are resisting it and some states are getting with the program.
Mm-hmm.
And I would think that there is nothing more American or patriotic than making sure that individuals who vote are entitled to vote. I mean, that's the most sacred responsibility we have as Americans in a democracy. And so let's make sure that people who do vote are not voting illegally or wrongly.
Okay, and let me jump if I can. I know your time's valuable. You have got some things to do here in Austin before running back to D.C., but folks will want to know, just yesterday, evidently, regards to the federal debt ceiling, there was some level hit, or we have reached the federal debt ceiling. What's coming down the pipe for folks in Congress to deal with that?
Technically, we did hit the debt ceiling May 16th, but they moved some money between accounts and nothing much happened. There were no consequences.
They being the Treasury Department?
The administration.
Okay.
That's correct. They keep telling us about these deadlines, but they keep moving the deadlines. First it was May 16th, and we don't really have to raise the debt ceiling till June, then it was July, now it's August 3. And it makes a lot of us wonder just how serious it is if the administration keeps moving the goalposts and saying, well, you don't really have to raise the debt limit till now, the first week of August.
So do they know would be the first question, what the exact date is?
Oh, well, the administration is now, the Treasury is now telling us August 3, and we have to raise the debt ceiling by that time. But I don't know of any Republican who wants to raise the debt ceiling unless we get a considerable amount of cuts in federal excessive spending in return. We have doubled our debt in the last 3 years. We've had a record deficit. We are borrowing 42 cents on every dollar we spend as a federal government. That is
42 cents of every dollar.
That is unconscionable, unsustainable. It's the road to insolvency. And so we have to get our economic house in order if we want to stimulate the economy and create jobs. That's why we need to reduce the deficit and rein in that excessive federal spending.
Well, we're going to leave it there. That will be the question coming up, is whether spending cuts, in fact, are tied to the deficit reduction, which seems to be the question pushed and posed to you all lately. So, Congressman Lamar Smith from Texas 21, thank you for coming in.
Good to be with you.
Chairman of House Judiciary. Folks, be sure and join us again for the next edition of Texas Insider on TV. We appreciate you joining us. I'm Jim Cardle. Remember, you're either an insider or you're not. Thanks.